This one. We have discussed this pricing of treasury bills, which is straightforward, and uh, and also we have discussed the few these questions, that is treasury bond calculation. Basically, we are finding the pricing. How much do we have to invest in particular instrument to buy? So when you calculate this particular question, basically, if we can find the pricing for one unit, what do you mean by that? How much we have to invest to get 100 end of the maturity period? Why 100? 100 is the nominal value of particular instrument in Sri Lanka. 100 is the face value of the government securities in Sri Lanka. So basically, if you find the 100, what is the value for 100? Example, 80, 89 to 100. So you have to invest 89 to have 100 on the maturity. The answer, if we get the answer 90, for example, we'll have to invest 90 rupees to get 100 on the maturity. But if in the exam, the examiner asks you, there is an investor who is having 5 million. Don't worry about the amount. First you find out amount required for 100. So when you calculate per unit, if you take the 100, it's easy for you to calculate the coupon interest, small amount. Now if you put 5 million, we don't know whether this is a 5 million is an investment amount. Of course you can. If it's a 5 million face value, of course we don't know. Always we have to calculate the coupon value on the face value. Sometimes examiner can give you, there is an investor who is having 5 million rupees, he needs to invest. So basically that is not the face value. That is the investment amount. He has money of 5 million. He has money 5 million, he needs to invest. So I told you the last is investment amount, which is going to be found by calculating this particular instrument. We are finding the pricing. How much today I have to invest? That's the investment amount. But we are calculating coupons, we are calculating cash flows, we are discounting cash flows, which are calculated based on the face value. Remember, we have taken 100 is the amount we will be receiving on the maturity. Why? 100 we will be receiving. Okay? But the amount we will have to invest is not as same as the 100. It can be below 100. Remember that we have received two question answers 89. 89 amount I have to invest 89 for me to get after whatever the maturity. First question for 4 years time 100. Today I am investing 89. 4 years time I am getting 100. What is the 100? 100 is the face value. In the meantime, during this 4-year period, I am getting coupon. I am talking about the first question. I am getting the coupon. Each year I am getting 16% coupon. 16%. How do you convert the coupon? Is it the amount based on the amount I have invested? No. Amount I will be receiving on the maturity. Why? The amount we have invested is different from the amount we are getting on the maturity, which is face value. Coupon has to be calculated based on the face value. Right? So we are finding how much you have to invest, which is the investment value. Don't go wrong, right? First, doesn't matter the investor has 100 million rupees, he needs to invest 5-year debenture with par value 100 and also everything is fine. Don't worry about the investor has money. Don't worry about the amount of the money investor has. You first calculate based on the unit price, which is 100. Nominal value is 100 and the face value is also 100. That's the assumption we are taking. Nominal value is anyway 100 in Sri Lankan carbon securities, but the face value is, we presume that it's 100. We are getting 100 on the maturity. Right? So the other one, so that's important. And also remember that how do you find out the number of periods? Based on what? Remember we discussed? Based on the coupon frequency. Coupon payment frequency. Number of coupons. Number of coupon. Now the first question, remember that we did 4-year debenture, 100 and pays 16% annual. In the exam, you underline it annual. So that every year I'm getting a coupon. How many years like that? 4 years. Every year I am getting a coupon. How many years then? 4 years. So how many periods? 1, 2, 3, 4. So then go to the discounting factor, which is the required rate of return, the rate I'm expecting. I'll give you a note on the required rate of return and the expected return. So required rate of return is my return. So if I am an investor, I need this. For example, I would say, now you go to a bank, you need to deposit 3 months FD. I am expecting 15% for 3 months. So my money, I'm going to the bank and ask, I need to invest for 3 months. Will you give me 15%? So the bank manager will laugh at. Right? So I am expecting 15%, but the actually bank gives how much? Sometimes 4.75, 3 months, example. So the required rate of return is who? Mine. I need. Right. If you need my money, give me 50%. It is up to you to decide whether my money wants or not. Banko don't na mage sali 15 dila ganna, Banko will take it. Similar thing. For this debenture, for this government security, for this treasury bond, I need 20%. I don't know how much is the market is going at. That's the difference. So the market rate and the my rate, which is required rate of return, is maybe different. සමහරට ඒකම වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. සමහරට ඒක වෙනව වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. The required rate of return, which is my return, which is I'm expecting, and different from the market return. So the 20% here, which is the discounting factor for this particular question, is my expectation. I'm expecting, I need this. If somebody in the market to sell me this particular instrument, which covers all these features, what are the features? Remaining maturity is 4 years. Coupon 16%, how does it pay? Annually. So the investor gets 20%. Everything has to be satisfied. If I am an investor, if I invest my money at 89 something, and remember the question, the answer we got last week of 1 unit. So depending on the amount, 100 if I have 5 million, how much value I have to invest. So that's simple. So the first you find out the value per unit, which is 100. How much the value of 100? Then easy. Otherwise, we will have to calculate based on if the examiner does not give you face value, anyway you can't calculate the coupon. Why? Coupon is to be calculated on face value. So remember investment amount and the face value, which is completely different, maybe different, maybe same. How? What are the occasions we get 100 investment amount and the 100 face value? There is a one occasion face value and the investment value will be the same. Now the last two questions, the answers we always got below 100. So the instrument is trading at a discount. So there may be question will be doing it more than 100. Instrument is trading at premium. So then 100. Now if it is a new issue, now this particular, now the government securities, if you take government securities, treasury bonds, those bonds are previously issued. What do you mean by that? Previously issued. Now government, government has a borrowing limit. By issuing treasury bill, treasury bond, what does the government do? They borrow from the public. If you take your bank, if you take your company, there is a limit of borrowing. There is a limit. So the government also has a limit passed by the parliament. So this government has presently has 3,000 billion rupees. At the moment, the government security outstanding is 1752 billion. So they can go. So what do you mean by previously issued? These instruments are not new issue. Now, particular instrument, if you take this advertisement which we have regarding the treasury bond, I think you can see this, right? This particular instrument 2023 November 15 maturity. This was previously issued. How do you know? Previously issued in the sense what? Government must have earlier taken the approval to issue 2023 bond. When was the first issue date of this particular bond? Date of issue, now see, we haven't touched when we did question. Now you can understand easily. Date of issue 20 November 2015. What does it mean? First, in the first instant, first time this bond has been issued on 15 November 2020. පළවෙනි වතාවට මේ බොන්ඩ් එක ඉෂුව කරලා තියෙන 2020 නොවැම්බර් 15. Why they are issuing now? When is the settlement day? Now they are issuing 2021 July 15. How much they are issuing? 27.5. Generally, now if you take a particular government security, so they are taking a decision. This particular instrument, 2023 November 15 maturity bond is 100 billion issue. So there is a sublimit as well in the total limit. So there is a balance to be issued. Some balance එකක් තියෙනවා මේ bond එක issue කරන්න. So that's why they are issuing. මේක තව ඉස්සරහට issue කරන්න. Now see, when this bond was issued in 2020, go to 2020 and think from there. Anybody who has invested in this particular bond at the first issue, which is November 15, 2020, what is the remaining maturity period? If you take it today, 20 in 2020, this bond is issued. Which bond? 20. There are system bond that issue now government. Somebody has invested. So I'm asking, if you invest your money, so basically we say the primary dealer has put bids and you have taken from the secondary market. If the primary dealer has invested over the put bid and successful the bid, in 2020 this particular instrument at the auction, then I'm asking when is the maturity date? Till the 2023 maturity date won't be changed. ඒක එහෙමම තමයි. 2020 ඉෂුව කරත් 2023 නවම්බර් 15 තමයි maturity. 2021 ඉෂුව කරත් ඒක තමයි. I'm asking what is the remaining maturity date, maturity period if you are in 2020? 3 years. Exactly. If you take the year only, 3 years. Now, what is the remaining maturity date? Now you are issuing, now you are investing in 2021. Maturity is when? 2023. Then the remaining maturity is 2 years. If you have invested, see now there is an investor who has invested in this particular bond in 2020. So you have met him. ඔයා මේ බොන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරාද? ඒ බොන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනකොට ඔයා කොච්චරක් තිබුණා? මම මේක ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනකොට අවුරුදු 3ක් මැචුරිටි මට යන්න තිබ්බා. 3 years වලින් තමයි මේක මට මැචුර් වෙන්නේ. Now today you are invested today in the sense 2021. Now same question somebody can ask. ඔයා මේ බොන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරාද? මම මේ බොන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරාද? මම මේ බොන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනකොට අවුරුදු 3ක් මැචුරිටි. නෑ මගේ නම් මේක අවුරුදු 2යි. But he has invested in 2021. Understood? The initial issue date may be different from the secondary issue date. So the people who have invested in this particular date, first issuance, then they have accepted this particular bond at 100. අලුතෙන් debenture issue කරනවා නම් අලුතෙන් bond එකක් issue කරනවා නම් so the face value and the nominal value is same. Since this bond has previously issued, then we have what? Accrued interest part. Now you can understand. If in the exam, if there is no accrued interest, meaning is what? Newly issued bond. Today only this bond is going to be issued. Tell me example. If you take your bank debenture, every bank issue debenture. Now I'll show it to you. I have the latest HNB. This is the HNB debenture issue. Why I take debenture? Debenture and the government, the treasury bond, almost similar feature-wise, right? Now see this. This is HNB prospector. Prospector. Now you know what you mean by prospector, right? Now see. Only see this one. The conversion at a par value of 100 is to raise. Par value of 100. Nominal value of 100. Now this particular debenture is going to be issued at 100. We're not talking about face value. Now these debentures are not previously issued. එහෙම සාමාන්‍ය බැංක වල කලින් ඉෂුව කරලා ඉවරලා කෑල්ලක් තියාගෙන no. They don't. Yeah, issue කරා. Now how much they need to issue? 5 billion. What? There is another option. With an option to issue up to further 20 power, 2 billion issue කරන්නත් කැමතියි. In which case, if the people have put money in this HNB debenture more than 5 million, then the bank will issue another 2 billion. මිනිස්සු ගොඩාක් සල්ලි දාන HNB එක විශ්වාසයි. මේ debenture එක හොඳ interest rate එක. So then we will put more money. HNB can go up to how much total? 7 billion. Initially they wanted to raise 5 billion, but if the people have put more money, they can go another 2 billion. So the all together 7 billion. So when they now this issue, when they issue this issue, and the following day they have put an advertisement. Remember, I was talking about the advertisement. I was I think I am. So the next day they are putting an advertisement oversubscribed. Meaning what? Oversubscribed in the sense that not the amount they have succeeded 5 million, but 7 billion. If they have achieved 7 billion total, so they can put the advertisement next day, it's oversubscribed. So oversubscribed means what? More than the 5 million amount they have received. So oversubscribed. Oversubscribed. More than the requested amount. Now, remember that when you're doing a treasury bill, treasury bonds, the result sheets, remember the amount government has offered and the amount they have received and amount they have accepted. Three different things. Generally, we have seen amount we have government has offered and the amount they have accepted is different. So they don't accept amount. Why? So what is the difference between the mechanism, treasury bond and the treasury bill on the debenture? Now debenture is not auction based. Debenture you know the pricing, how much you have to invest at. Everything is there. Debenture pricing is there. Now if you take debenture treasury bond, then you can decide the price. Why? It's auction based, but debentures are not auction based. Huh? Debenture pricing is determined when you issue at the issue. At the issue, right? This particular instrument is issued at. I'll show you the pricing. We'll be discussing all these special features. See the pricing here. Now this particular instrument issue price is how much? 100. Par value is how much? 100. Issue price, now this particular bond is issuing at 100. Why 100? Why it can't be 89? Why it can't be 101? This is not a previously issued bond. This is not a previously issued debenture. But if you take this particular one, previously issued, when was the first issued? 2020. Then obviously you have what? Accrued interest. What you can, so what do you have to keep in mind? If any instrument with regard to treasury bond and debenture, if the previously issued one, if you want to acquire now, if you want to purchase now, then you will be purchasing this particular bond either more than 100, either less than 100. It can't be 100. Why? Previously issued. If it is a new issue, not previously issued, then you will be acquiring. Now this HMB debenture last July, this month issue or last month issue, you will be investing at 100. If you want to purchase 1 unit, then you will be put 100, which is the par face value, par value. Understood? Right? These are not previously issued. Bangkok debenture issue කරාම ඒක close කරනවා ඒක උදා ඒක ඇරලක් ලබනවලු තියාගන්න no they don't issue that. Not like treasury bond. Not like treasury bond, right? So even we are discussing the features are same, but there are some differences. For example, I can test you some difference now. The difference, what are the difference? This is more. So debentures are not auction based. If auction based, you can put application, but you know the pricing, 100. හැබැයි treasury bond එකක් ගන්නකොට do we need the rate, the option based? Primarily I can put their own bids. Another thing is now this particular debenture, now see the coupon is here also the annual coupon, right? But there can be different payment style. Semi-annual it can be, monthly can be, quarterly it can be. Now, so the treasury bonds, you always tell coupon payment is semi-annual. Now here coupon payment is annual. Coupon payment is annual. So differences are there when you compare treasury bond and treasury bill. But overall, if you take the instrument are same. The features may be different. Features in the sense of mode, option based treasury bond. But here there is no option. But you can have option based also. There was I can remember when the IOC, Indian Oil Company, issue shares, they apply actually, they issue shares on the option base. That was the first private sector IPO we have seen based on the option base. So if you want, you can have it, but it's very cumbersome. No need. If you know the amount you need to raise through this debenture, then you issue at price. You know the price, right? You know the price. Okay. So to understand, so there are some differences as well. But if you take the overall picture, it is similar. So what we are discussing is now 2020 is the issuance date. So firstly, this bond is issued in 2020. Now they are going to same bond, they have a balance to be issued. Now they are issuing again in 2021. What I want to tell you is if any investor invested in 2020, then the maturity of this particular bond is 3 years. If you have invested in 2021, maturity is only 2 years. So that's why we ask you to take in the exam questions, take the remaining maturity date. Always take the remaining maturity. Now, anybody who has invested in this 2021, so they will be calculating their pricing, remaining maturity period how much? 2 years. Anybody who has invested in 2020, at that time, investor, if he wants to sell, they will be calculating remaining maturity period as 3 years. Now, if you are holding this particular bond, you have invested in 2020, same bond you are holding, you are not a new investor. Then if you want to, then you need to sell. Then how many remaining maturity? 2 years. Understood, right? අවුරුද්දක් ගියාට පස්සේ remaining maturity period එක අඩු වෙනවා. Right. So then another one is when you can invest at 100 if it is new issue, like debentures. Like debentures are new issues. Now these treasury bonds are previously issued. So then you have what? You won't be able to accept at 100. It can be more than 100 or it can be less than 100. ඒක 89 වෙන්න පුළුවන්, 101 වෙන්න පුළුවන්, 110 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right. You can't. You will be not investing at 100. Why? Not a new issue. So another feature is you can identify whether this bond is previously issued. You have accrued interest. Accrued interest, you know, like it's a previously issued one. Right? We'll be later coming how to calculate it. Right? Now we were discussing this particular one, right? So all the very important, right? And if you take the second question, again the same number of period. How do you decide? Based on the frequency of coupon payment. Semi-annual. හැම අවුරුද්දකම දෙකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. So what is the remaining maturity period? Coupon 2-year bond. Examiner has not told you whether this is remaining or original maturity. We'll take it as remaining. So then 2 years. So if it is 2 years, So how many coupon you should receive if you are investor? Per year, two. The 2 years, four. How many periods? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have another one to be done. What? You have the required rate of return. Then that is also has to be based on the interest rate or the coupon rate frequency. If it is semi-annual, this figure also has to be semi-annual. This is annual, right? The given figure is annual. If it is monthly, this figure also has to be monthly. Understood? First you calculate price per 100, then you calculate the entire amount you need to invest, right? So these are the things we have done last week, right? So I will be continuing. And before we come there, I just want to show it to you. Now, see. Now, with regard to this, now see, since we have discussed the features and discuss now see, this is the cost now see. This is now see. Remember this word. Right. Now remember, you can see me now. Right? Now remember that we have discussed treasury bonds and treasury bonds and the treasury the debentures are some kind of similar features. So we have discussed that when you want to issue a debenture, you will be issuing what initially prospectus. Now I'm going to show you the prospectus of HNB, recently issued HNB prospectus. Now see, this is prospectus issued by the HNB. Now understand the features of this particular one, right? Before we come to clean price, dirty price. Same thing we'll be learning treasury bond and the debenture. Now see, what is a prospectus? When you issue a debenture, you have to issue this. Why you want to issue the prospectus? Compulsory. Compulsory in the sense, who says for you to issue? SEC. What do you mean by SEC? Stock exchange. Why a stock exchange people saying you to issue debenture? So everybody has to issue a prospectus? No. Everybody does not need to issue prospectus. Remember, if it is a listed, now see the word will go. To be listed on the Columbus Stock Exchange. Now this particular HNB debenture was listed, is to be listed. So then you have to comply the rules and regulation issued by the SEC. So I'll be giving a note when we are discussing the shares. What are the listing requirements for you to be listed on the main board? What are the listing requirements for you to be adhered to the D07 board? And remember the first discussion we have discussed this. I have given you must be familiar with the words. You don't know what this is, but MCB board, remember, multi-currency board, Empower board, all these boards are there. Now that is shares. This is debenture. So is this debenture listing on the same main board or the same D07 board? No. Debentures are not listed on the main board or D07 board or MC board or no. They have a separate board. We call it DEX. Now in Sri Lanka, debt instruments are not trading much like shares. Now if you know share market, shares are moving every day. Market shares you can see, but have you ever seen debentures are moving, pricing? There are a lot of listed debentures, right? Almost all the debentures recently and previously issued listed. But have you ever seen that in the share market debentures are trading? No. In Sri Lanka, debt instruments tradings are not happening. Even this is listed, you can't see the price move. Not that sophisticated the system we have. Sophisticated in the sense, people are not interested. Not like other countries. Like other countries, it's very attractive investment exchange. Right? Even this listed, not everyday listed. In Sri Lanka, we have seen now. See, if you are investor in this particular debenture, you will never sell. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි දකින්නේ ගස් දෙයක් විකුණන්නේ නැහැ. On the maturity, till the maturity you are holding. Interest rate එක කොච්චර උඩ ඉරන් මේක what's the tenor of this particular bond, particular instrument? Now this particular debenture. Now see. Tenor is 10 years. 10-year debenture. If you invest it today, you are holding it till 10 years. So today is this 2021. So basically, 10 years means 31. During the period, if the interest rates have gone up, after 3 years time, you see similar instrument, similar debenture issue 12%. So the rational, if you are a rational investor, what do? Now, see, these are the questions examiners ask you, test you. Question number 7 and 8. Now see, now we have come to understand very well. So when the discussion point we are discussing. If you are a rational investor, now you have invested in this particular debenture. Say you have invested 100 rupees. You can't invest 100 rupees, but I'll say this is minimum. Sometimes 10,000 is the minimum. This is completely different instrument. I'll come to that point also. Very important. Examiner has not tested that. What I'm going to tell you is examiner has tested frequent every day to text type question, lengthy questions which are not answered by the many students, but nothing in it, only the text, only the story, right? Now see, understand this. Now say you have invested, now if you are a HNB employee, you can invest particular instrument, not this instrument, why this is Basel, but say now, forget about that, HNB has issued debenture, you are employee, you have invested. HNB can HNB के वजह करने के लिए sure. So the basically, then how do now say I'm not an employee of HNB. If you are HNB, if you are working in HNB investment banking division, how do you encourage me? How do you encourage me to invest in this particular instrument? Now we have discussed. Now see, we have discussed this. How do you say to me, look here, there is an instrument issued by our bank. Would you like to invest if you have money? Please invest in this particular bond. I'm telling you, no, I don't want. I'm not investing in it. Can be debenture. You ask me to invest, or you are an employee. You are working in investment banking division. You only issue this particular bond, debenture. You need to find sometimes you are canvassing your debenture because of your bank. So how do you convince me to invest? I'm not believing you. I'm not believing what you are saying. What you are an employee. You have self-interest in HNB. You know what's happening inside HNB, but I don't know. So how do you convince me? People have invested in this particular more than the required. So people have more trust on this particular instrument. I'm talking about so subscribe. How do you create the trust on the people to invest in this particular HNB bond, HNB debenture? Didn't you discuss? We have discussed. How do I analyze? How do I take a decision whether okay, I have money, I'm going to invest? Particularly this particular instrument. Why? Prospector. Prospector contains everything. If you go, this instrument is available on the website, and it contains everything on the HNB. Hammer them HNB, balance sheet, the statutory decrement, debentures, everything is there. Directors. This is the audited by audit opinion, everything. And once examiner has tested the contents of few contents of debenture, like nothing litigation, the problem of employees, projections, your project accounts, everything is there. So what else? Right? Okay, everything is okay. Fine. Financials are okay. Only present financials are okay. Audited by KPMG. That's fine. Audited accounts. Okay. Future projects are okay for me. But how do I know the credibility or the repayment of my money? No. Repayment of my money. Now I am investing in this particular debenture for 10 years. Even though this particular instrument is listed, I won't be able to sell. I know that. Then how do you convince me? I don't believe you. Well, you are an employee, HNB. You have a biased decision. Now these are the contents, right? Now these are the contents. Now see, I'll come to this question. Invitation to subscribe, subscription list, the application, trustee to the issue. I'll be coming to that. Who were the trustee? Rating of debenture, rights and obligation of debenture holders, transferring the how do you transfer to another one, listing, cost of the issue, brokerage, inspection documents, eligible applicants who can be applied, everything about the bank. Now see, financial year, accounts, stated capital, major shareholders, who are the major share taxation, debenture interest rate, everything. Everything is in nutshell, right? Everything now, see statutory requirement, everything is in nutshell. So why? I'm an outsider. You have to give me all the information about HNB. Plus, give me a credibility of the repayment of my debenture money, my investment money. Where do you get it? Who is the agency we have been discussing? Is there somebody? Is there any somebody who can give me a unbiased or what you call independent opinion on the credibility of HNB? Yes, it's there. It's there. Who is this? Fish rating. They are rated. HNB debentures rated. AA minus LKA. Stable. Fitch rating Lanka Limited. So the Fitch is one of the rating companies in Sri Lanka, but the other one, ICRA in Sri Lanka, right? But who are the worldwide? Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. So the Fitch is giving rating AA. What's the first one? AA minus. First one is triple C. Only NSB has. Right. So the triple C, triple A, then the AA plus, then AA minus, the third one. Okay, this is very good. What's the country rating of ours? Triple C. This is A, AA, not B. B and C. Can understand where our government is, or as a country rating and the particular debenture instrument. This is the particular instrument. HNB's rating may be different. Here, I'm sorry. It's entity rating. See, this is entity rating. Entity rating in the sense what? Particular HNB's rating. Every bank, every finance company has a rating, like country. Bank of Sri has a rating. HNB has a rating. People's Bank has a rating. Why? When you put money, not in debenture, when you put FD, people should know whether this particular financial institution is worthwhile for me to put my money. What is the guarantee? So if you have a triple C, 100% guarantee. If you have a AA plus, less than triple C, but okay. If you have double B, if you take double B and double A, table the Vadan Pale and BT, so then you go for double A one. Why? The credibility, the repayment capacity is high. See, A, B, C, D, and A. A tamai the good one. B is the bad one. C is the worst. D is the default. Now see, HNB has this rating, AA minus, but this particular instrument has A, which is better. So the A means basically the A category means your repayment ability by the institution, by the bank is quite high. Quite high. So you don't want to worry about the repayment. You don't worry about the money on the maturity, the money repayment by the HNB. Why? You have been given the independent opinion by Fitch rating. This is the entity, this is the particular issue, this is the particular instrument, may debenture rating, this is the HNB rating, entity rating and the debenture rating. So that's the pattern. So generally, institutions take particular instrument rating as well. Right? May instrument have value. This is what they have done. Okay. So the independent opinion is from who? Fitch rating. Why? For me to invest. Now I have all the information. Rating agency has given A, and accounts are there, profits I have earned, okay, I'll be investing. That's the decision you take. So I'm asking a question, examine this question now. You have invested with this in for 10 years. After 3 years' time, interest rate scenario has changed. Now, HNB decided, same institution, HNB decided to issue another debenture. Can't they issue? They can. Why? If they are within the borrowing limit approved by the board, they can issue any instrument. 2021 issue කර කියලා මට 2024 issue කරන්න බැයිද? No, that's no. මේ මැචුර් නෑනේ. It doesn't matter. මේ මැචුර් 2021 so do I have to wait till 2031? No. There is no requirement. If you want, you can issue next year. If you need money. Now see, my question is, now you have invested. You know that I'm getting 9.5% each coupon every year annual for 10 years. I know, I have made the investment. I'm in now 2021. Now think about the future. Now I'm in 2024 after 2 years time. Next 3 years time. After 3 years. Again, I have seen advertisement in 2024. HNB is going to issue a debenture, 10-year debenture. Now I'm just looking at. I know that I have investment. 3 years ago I made it. I just look at the rate. The rate they indicate 15%. Rate they increase. They mention 15%. 3 years ago, the HNB has issued 950. Now, can I? Is there any problem for me to issue HNB to issue at 15%? No. Who says? Any cost? Now, whose cost is this? HNB has to pay. HNB's cost. Basically, HNB like to issue debenture at a lower rate. Make a type 100 HNB issue they issue. But who is suffering? Investor. You as investor, do you like to invest 10-year debenture? 10-year money, 850%. Do you like to put it? So that's a call you have to take it. So you as investor, but HNB like to issue at a very much lower rate. Why? It is their cost. They have to pay to the investor. They receive money, they have to pay. 15%. What do you do? I have invested for 10 years. 3 years ago. Every year I'm getting 950. But your friend is going to make an investment in 2024. HMB debenture at 15%, whereas he will be receiving annually 15% ground interest, whereas you are getting 950. You as a rational investor, what do you do? Obviously, you sell this existing one and you will be investing in the new one. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that. This is listed instrument. You can sell. But still, even you don't list this, still you can sell. Now, say you are the investor of this particular HNB one, you want to sell this, then you will be asking somebody. Have I always given Mahandera, Magalanga debenture, would you like to take it? Have I managed to give Mahandera, would you like to take it? Magi debenture, when you make an investment in shares, do you want to ask like that? No. When you make an investment in treasury bill, do you want to ask? No. There is sophisticated market for treasury bill. Why? You have to go to you can go to the person where you purchase from. Who is that? Primary dealer. He is there to purchase back, discount back. Remember the word. Purchase back. No worries. So that everything is perfect. with regard to treasury bill, treasury bond. Even these debentures are listed, you will be find difficult. You are finding difficult to sell this particular in between before it gets mature, right? Before it gets mature, even this is listed. Why? In Sri Lanka, we don't have sophisticated market. Here, you have found a person to purchase. You are the seller. You have made investment. You need to sell. Somebody is there. One of your friends is willing to purchase this particular instrument. How much you have invested doesn't matter amount. Don't worry about the amount. What pricing? Pricing I don't know. I can tell you the rate. What's the rate? 950. Now remember, we have discussed this. Now see, so one scenario can have many sub scenarios, right? How much you have invested? 15,000. I have invested. What's the rate? 950. Would you like to buy my debenture? Okay. What's the price you are giving to me? Trading, share market. You can hide it. But without going to the share market or the next where these debentures are trading, they can have price right? Tell me, if you are an investor of this particular instrument, you need to sell. What pricing would you sell if you want to make a profit? Did we discuss? We have. Where did we discuss? When you're doing the treasury bond. How do you decide whether this particular instrument should I sell to make a profit? Remember that relationship we have discussed? Price and the same thing. Same thing. Price and the yield. I don't know the pricing. I know only the amount, or I know only the percentage I have invested. I know the entire 50,000 rupees I have invested. I made investment, but now I know I can remember I know my yield is 0. Coupon interest is 950. If you are a rational investor, person who is going to purchase this particular instrument, which I am holding at the moment. අලුත් කෙනා සල්ලි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න ඕනේ. අලුත් කෙනා සල්ලි ඔය මේ ඩිබෙන්චර් එක ඔයාගෙන් 50,000 ඔයා ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරපු එක 950ක් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරපු එක ගන්න ඕනේ. අලුත් කෙනා ඇවිල්ලා. More than 950 or less than that. So his money will be investing. Is he like to invest at 950 or more than 950? He likes to invest. Mama කැමති මගේ සල්ලි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න 50% වලට. මම කැමති මගේ සල්ලි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න 30% වලට. But there is no instrument such. But you have made this investment at 950. But I like my money to be invested at 12%. I like. So you are holding this particular instrument. What's the purchase yield? What's the rate you have made this investment at 950? Now I am asking, we have discussed, you want to sell this particular investment debenture to me. Would you like, you're asking, would you like to purchase this particular, I have made this 50,000 investment at 950. What's the pricing? What's the pricing you are going to take it? I can't tell you the pricing. Why? In Sri Lanka, pricing is not determined. Pricing academy up in Lanka, yield. Okay, sorry. Tell me the yield you are going to purchase. You are going to invest. So I'm telling you, would you like to sell to me? I will be investing my money at 12%. Do you sell? $950 you have invested. purchase yield 9%, 950. Now the market, new investor, has requested for you to sell this particular bond at 12%. For us to sell, we need a rupee value. But last week we have discussed, hypothetically you think, don't go and calculate the pricing. Hypothetically you think whether this is profitable for you to sell. 950, now interest rate has gone up. Yield has gone up. Why? 950, 12. When the interest rate has gone up, what will happen to the pricing? Should come down. Now hypothetically think, 950 will you have purchased this particular bond at 100. Example. Why I have taken 100? This is a fresh issue. No accrued interest. It can't be more than 100. It can't be less than 100. Surely you have purchased this particular bond at 100. 950 will be 100. So the 12% now it comes. So the yield has gone up. Price should less than 100 or more than 100. Yield has gone up 950 to 12%. When the yield has gone up, price should come down. It obviously should less than 100. Example, we say 80. 100ට ගත්තු එක 80ට විකුණනවා. Simple answer. You won't sell. If you want to make profit, you won't sell. You are losing. You are making a loss. But if you need really money, you will be selling at a significant loss. At least you can recover something. That's the question examiner tests you. There's one set of questions. Now, the question we have been discussing, after 3 years' time, this particular instrument, same company, same bank, issuing a debenture, same features, debenture issue 15%. Now, as a rational investor, what do? You sell this particular instrument and reinvest in the new one. Can do that? Yes, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. So we'll be learning later the options available. Now sometimes debentures have options, convertible debentures, then the callable options. There are debentures like that. Convertible debentures, callable options like that. So we'll be learning later. So generally we think that when the interest rate go up in the future, when the interest rate goes up in the future, if we have a sentiment, if we have a perception that next the interest rate will have, then what do? If you have an option given, variable and fixed, which one you select? Obviously, variable. Why? Now this instrument is only one option. It's fixed coupon. අවුරුදු 10ටම හැම අවුරුද්දම ගන්න 9.50. Even the interest rates have gone up after 3 years, you will be receiving 9.50. Even the interest rates have gone down further after 3 years, the comfortable 9.50. But we recommend our investors always go to the variable interest rate. Now you know, if you are working in a bank, you know borrowers. The borrowers are asking now loans at fixed rate. For 10 years. You know that this particular rate is very much comfortable with them for 10 years. Now during the 10 years, there is a high chance of interest rate to go up. So if you fix it today, you as a borrower, fix it today, then you are better off. So the banks are trying to give more loans on variable interest rate, AWPLR plus rate. When the interest rate goes up, then the bank gets the advantage. But people like borrowers, they need to fix their borrowing. So there is a two-way difference. So we actually now HNB is better off in the future. Interest rate will further go up. අවුරුදු 3කින් 15 ඉෂුව කරපුවා මෙයා better off නැද්ද? අයියෝ මං ෂෝක් එක 950 ඉෂුව කරේ අවුරුදු 3කට කලින්. Very good. But if you have put a debenture now say it's an interest rate අඩු වෙන මොකද වෙන්නේ අවුරුදු 3කට පස්සේ අවුරුදු 10ක් ඉස්සර 950 then you are losing. We don't know what will happen in the future, but your investment is based on the future. If you think that future interest rate will go up, then you decide this. Then, so you told me that you can't predict the future. We can't predict. We don't know the certainty of the future, but we can predict the future. Remember that we discussed the yield curve. Based on the yield curve, we'll be coming to that later. Yield, based on the yield curve, you can decide whether in the future interest rate is going up or going down. Based on that, if you are given two options, variable or fixed, now here only the fixed, then you have here you don't have any option. That if you want to invest, you invest at fixed only. Otherwise, you can't. Sometimes debenture also debenture issuance have two variables, fixed and floating. Then you decide. Am I going to invest in fixed? Am I going to invest in floating? How to decide? Based on the future interest rate. How to decide the future interest rate? Based on the yield curve. So we'll be learning. There are 4 types of yield curve. We'll be learning later what is the yield curve in detail and types of yield curve. Now see, understand this. So similar instrument can be issued after three years time, depending on the prevailing interest rate, right? If you have a callable option, we will come to that later. Right, okay, we will complete that one. Now say this particular instrument has callable. Now see, this particular instrument has callable option. So we'll complete that callable and convertible, right? Forget about. Now understand, right? All this is important. How to decide the selling price? Is it profitable for me to sell or losing? Based on the yield, and based on the yield, you hypothetically think the price. Last week we did it, right? Similar instrument. Now we have 100 na hypothetically think. Then we are dollar dealer, right? Interest rates are going up. When the yield goes up, price should come down. So I'm $100. I'm selling at 90. I'm making 10 rupees loss. Am I selling? That's your right. Now understand this. Now what do you mean by this? Now X7 has not tested this. Now this Basel III compliant debenture has been there for many years, but X7 has never touched this. So we expected last year also X7 will test, but X7 would test, but we didn't test it. Okay. What is the prospectus? Now we have idea of the prospectus, but remember that when you're issuing a treasury bond, they don't issue this prospectus. These are the private companies or the private institution only issue this debenture. Why? To give all the information about the company. Government is why not issuing? Why the government is not issuing the prospectus? We have assumption that government is never default, but we don't know HNB whether HNB will default this. Right? So that's why they have to give all the information to the prospective investors, right? So same thing here. So now see this one. Okay. Now an initial issue of 50 million, Basel III compliant tier 2. Now remember, now Basel III compliant. Now why the Basel III? Now earlier debentures, general debentures. Now these days we have seen that financial institutions are issuing Basel III compliant. So if you issue this particular debenture rather than issuing shares, you can take this particular debenture amount into your capital. How do you raise capital? One thing you can ask existing, one thing you can issue new shares. It can be a listed company. You can ask, you can issue new shares. After shares issue, they can raise money. Or otherwise, they can ask existing shareholders to contribute. That's the right issue will be coming later. Right? Or they otherwise they have to go to the bank and borrow. That's another option. Or otherwise they can issue a future. So we'll be learning later when you're doing the discussion. Examiner also tested issuing shares and issuing debentures. The advantages and disadvantages. There are, right? And the features issuing debenture and shares, right? Will be coming later. Right? When you complete the, when after we completed this, we will discuss that. Right? Now, see, understand this particular instrument. Basel 3 means capital adequacy ratio. Because so you can take only the feature is when the amount you issue down here, the central it can be 7 billion. Initially 5 billion they wanted to raise. Now another 2 billion also they have raised. They have taken this into capital. So basically, like shares, they can take into capital. Now, what do you mean by listed? Okay, that where do we list? CSE rated. Which has rated? Unsecured. Unsecured means there is no particular security. If the HNB does not pay after 10 years time, you as an investor, do you have any option to recover? No. Now, when you issue, when you grant loans, you take a security. If the borrower does not pay, you can realize by selling this security, whatever the amount due. But here there is no security like that, no unsecured. We don't know what will happen after 10 years time. Now, fixed rating also given based on today's information. Unsecured. Subordinated means what? Subordinate කියලා කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ subordinate කියලා කියන්නේ ඔයා යටතේ වැඩ කරනවා. Right? That's your subordinate. Subordinated to whom here? Subordinated to capital. Now, when a company is bankrupt, whatever the left amount left after selling all these assets, there is a method of settling. If the company is bankrupt, whatever the dues to the government, then you have something left. Before you settle the shareholders who are the owners of this particular one, before you settle anything you have left, now say you have realized everything, every asset in the company by this bankrupt. You have 100. Government tax I have left with 30. Now you have 2 people to settle. Owners then know something. Then you have a debenture. Before you give owners anything, you have to settle this particular one. So basically, you will be par with capital. Even now, are you a shareholder? No. You are not a shareholder. You are a lender. Now, this debenture is a liability of HNB, right? HNB is liability, long-term liability from HNB side. Right? HNB side is long-term liability. So then, before you settle the capital, before you settle the shareholders of HNB, you settle whatever the amount due to this particular debenture. Itano HNB bankrupt වුණාම මේ debenture එක තියෙනවා අවුරුදු 5කින් bankrupt වෙනවා. Example only, right? I'm taking this example only. This is a 10-year debenture. Say this particular bank is bankrupt for a year's time. So then you have left something before you settle the owners and the company is 2 different entities, right? Entity concept. You have to give them something. They have to give capital. You have to, in compensation of the capital, you have to give them. What is that? Dividend. So there is a two types of relationship. Company and the owners are two different, not the same. Right? So then the company has to give something. If they bankrupt, whatever the amount they have left, they have to give them. Shareholders, they have put their money in capital as capital. Before you settle whatever, before you give whatever the amount left with you, shareholders, you will settle. So all these liabilities you have to settle before you settle this subordinated debenture, this type of debenture that I'm telling you. So your priority, the possibility for you to get something if the company is bankrupt, the bank is bankrupt, is very remote. Hey, shareholders like so you have settled all these other liabilities. Anis liabilities you can't. So that's the meaning of subordinate. So subordinated to whom? Shareholders, share capital. Monohari debenture maybe when the bank can be bankrupt, you will be receiving just prior to the shareholder. Sometimes if the money does not have, if you don't have money left, you will be losing everything. Understood? Redeemable. After 10 years time, you will be receiving the what? Face value, not the investment amount. Same thing we did in the treasury bond as well. Redeemable. So each word is important for us, right? Basel 3 compliant tier 2, right? Basel 3 compliant. Can take it to the capital. Unsecured subordinate redeemable debenture with the non-viability conversion. So this is the new thing. You expect the examiner to test, not tester. Now, in this particular venture, there is a feature embedded. There is a feature include. You can convert this particular debenture into shares. You can, now debenture holders are the debenture is a liability. For the debenture holders, what do you pay in compensation? Interest, coupon interest. For the share, if you become a shareholder, you have to pay dividend. Now, in this particular debenture, which is a liability of HNB, if you are an investor in this particular debenture, if you are invested in this particular debenture, you have opportunity to become a shareholder. Convertible debenture. The convertible debenture will be coming later. Non-viability conversion. Right? If something goes wrong, there is a trigger point. Example is now, say now, if this particular bank not able to meet the capital adequacy ratio prescribed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, later date, then the trigger point arose. Then you have to convert into the share. So that option is anyway available. So we'll be learning this later, the convertible and callable option. So these instruments we have seen the compulsory feature, convertible debentures, right? Value of 100 each raised Sri Lankan rupees, fully subscribed with option to issue further 20, right? In the event of fully subscribed was made. In the event of first tranche is oversubscribed, right? The maximum they can go up to 7 billion, rated by which rating? Issue opens 15, එදා තමයි open එක එදා මේක close වුණා. Now see these two guys. Equity, joint managers and placement agents to the issue. Equity is you, investment banker. You only decide this. You only structure this. You only structure this particular instrument. Make a CA issue කරන, මෙච්චරක් issue කරනවා. These are the things comply වෙන්න ඕනේ. Prospect හදන්න ඕනේ. Everything done by you as investment banker. Cal is also another party which is owned by the. There is a shareholding of HNB. So placement agent means what? So finding the investors. This is the structural part they do, equity. Placement agents, also here the joint manager and placement agents, both are doing the same capacity. Both are working on the same capacity. Here the joint manager, here the placement agent, investors structure. So that is a joint manager. People who have the institution who have structured. Now remember the below we have seen here also is there. Trustee. Who are the trustees? Who is the trustee? Who the trustee is? Trustee is whom generally when you issue debenture you appoint a trustee. Why? If trustee is there to protect the investor's interest. Coupon payments are given away. If something goes wrong, you have to tell the not the HNB but the trustee. Trustee is there for you to protect the investors. Investors' interest only protect. Investors' interest will be protected by the trustee. Permanent trustee කෙනෙක් ඉන්න something goes wrong. අපි දන්නවා MTD workers debenture එක default කරා. So the trustee has to take action against the company. So he'll have to go to courts and he'll have to protect the debenture interest, debenture holders' interest and all those things. So trustee takes action. Even in Potagala plantation also there was a debenture defaulter. So the trustee has to take actions against these things, right? So why you are protecting the investors? Now see the trigger point. Of course, the trigger point is outstanding debenture. We will be coming. We will discuss a little later. These trigger points are, as I told you, whatever the ratio is breaching, then you have to convert this into debenture. And another feature are becoming. I have given in my notes also convertible and callable option. There we will be discussing a little later. Another one I need to tell you is now I told you everybody can't invest in this particular debenture. So even you are an employee, you can't invest this debenture. You can't. Why? This is a Basel III compliant. Basel III compliant debentures. So the Basel III compliant debentures are issued only to invest for whom? Qualified investors. Qualified investors only. Qualified investors can only invest in this particular instrument. Who are the qualified investors? Am I not qualified? No, we individuals are not qualified unless you have more than 50 million rupees. So the minimum amount is how much? 50 million if you are individual investor. So that is also important. So the qualified investors are named, and the eligibility criteria is there who can be invested. If it is a company, you should have net worth more than 500 million. So the insurance companies are eligible or the finance companies are eligible, they are qualified investors. The trust funds are eligible to invest. They are eligible to invest by law. If it is an individual, you should have more than 50 million to be qualified for the investment in Basel III compliant debentures. Remember, right? Wording is very important. Saman debenture you can invest. Saman debenture can minimum amount of 10,000. I'll show it to you a debenture like that. But since this is Basel III compliant, so you have to be qualified debenture, qualified investor, qualified investor, individual more than 50 million, and the other things is available at the available by you. Now see the conversion. Now see this price based on a simple if you want to convert into shares, there is a conversion rate is also conversion price is also convert into what? HNB shares. Ordinary voting වල share price එකක් දීලා තියෙන මෙන්න මේ price එකට තමයි convert කරන්නේ කියලා. So we'll be having later the question on this, right? Conversion pricing. The only thing you have to keep in mind the features here. Here I'm expecting you to remember the features. Don't worry about others. Feature in the sense there is a feature of convertibility. That's all. What do you mean by that? Debenture can be converted to shares. That's all. And also we will see this eligibility criteria. I have the eligibility criteria in 6.2. 34 we'll see. Now see eligible applicants. Now see, are you there? You are employed. Here the individual, an individual with a minimum initial investment 5 million. Here they have put only 5 million, right? 5 million, not 50. Sometimes you can decide it's a 50 million individual, right? If it's a company, there should be they have also not mentioned the net worth value, right? Investment cost under the corporate to the fall under. They are only giving the any corporate which does not fall under the above category. Corporate any company can. They have given the liberty. So sometimes you put a now. Only thing is why they have given this. They need to have more reliable investors to this particular instrument. Now, so individual. Now, sometimes this individual does not want to convert this into shares. Shares वलට convert करना ना, they can invest in exchange shares now. They can take it from the secondary market. But sometimes people can't understand the feature of this Basel III compliant debenture convertibility option. If something goes wrong, there is an option to convert into shares. Whether you like it or not, you have to take it. But if you want to invest in HNB shares, you have a method. Go to the share market and purchase. So that's why they have put a minimum threshold limit. So sometimes some banks have put 50 million, and for the companies they have given net worth has to be 500 million. So those things why you want to exclude many companies investing in this particular instrument, not exclude, right? So all these commercial banks, licensed banks, all are eligible investors. These are by law. You can decide this one, right? So you want to, right? So you and I can't invest. If you have 5 million, you can, but very rare that you will be investing in debenture company as an individual, right? At 950 for 10 years. So all these you have to keep keeping there. Are you investing at 950 for 10 years? In the meantime, if you want to sell it, there is no much sophisticated market even is listed for me to sell. All these factors you have to take into account. And once you issue this debenture, this is the advertisement they have published. Now, when was the issue date of this particular instrument? It's 15, right? Have you have you seen the date of issue this particular instrument? I think it's 15 July. Issue open 15 July. So next day, that is 16th of July 2021, they have put advertisement. Exchange is Basel 37 billion debenture snap up, oversubscribed. Now see, read this. I don't know whether you can see this. This is not uploaded. HNB 7 billion Basel 3 listed debenture issue was oversubscribed. Remember the word oversubscribed. The amount you wanted to raise more than, people have invested more than, people have given money more than the requirement. So sometimes you might not get entire thing by since it is oversubscribed. Proportionate, pro rata basis you will be receiving as investor. HNB said as per the prospectus, the issue closed following oversubscription. එදාම වහලා 15 වෙනිදා open කරා 15 වෙනිදා මේක දැම්මා oversubscribe වුණා වැහුවා. The bank issued 50 billion Basel III compliant tier 2 listed rate and unsecured debenture, redeemable debentures, non-viability conversion at 100 each to raise 5 billion. Offer 20 million raise the debenture can be fixed rate 950 payable annually. Joint managers, they are talking about everything. HNB last had Basel III compliant debenture issued 10 billion September 2000. Now see the last, now see 2019. 10 billion issue kala thina, then 2020 issue karna 7 billion after 2 years time. That's possible. But the only thing you can decide whether this is worthwhile or this is worthwhile. 2021 is worthwhile, 2019 is worthwhile. If you see the wait, what do you think? 2019 issue කරපු debenture එකේ rate එක 9.5ට වැඩි වෙන්න ඇද 9.5ට අඩු වෙන්න ඇද? If it is fixed, obviously it has to be more than that. I think it's more than 2019. We didn't have this lower regime of interest rate. I think it must be available on the website, so we can see that. You can see that whether this bond is worthwhile. ඒ දවස්වල invest කරන්න හොඳයි කියලා you can. So the same question we discussed, remember. Right? If it is now say A bond 10.5 issue, now you can't do anything. People are not selling at 10.5. There's a price reduction, the pricing and the yield. The two type issue was oversubscribed. So the application now see. The two type issue was oversubscribed. Now see 16 billion in application. 16 billion in application. Whereas you wanted to issue with 10 billion 16 billion. So meaning everybody you can't issue more than 10. If it is also you have taken the approval for issue maximum 10, but you have received application 16 billion. So then you have to decide the ratio. Over the 16.4 within the higher pro rata basis. 5-year debenture offered a fixed rate now. That was 10 billion. Now see, it's a 5-year, right? 10 billion rupees. 10 billion, not the year. I'm sorry. 10 billion rupees. The 5-year debenture offered fixed rate of 12.30. Now see. It's a 7-year debenture. 2019 issued one. They have issued at 12.30. Payable annually and a 7-year fixed rate. Instrument. The 5-year debenture offered a fixed rate payable annually, and there are two types. They are talking about two types. Now see, In 2019, they have issued 10 billion. Two types, 5-year and 7-year. Wanted to issue 10 billion entire, two types. Tenor is different. 5-year one, 7-year one. 5-year one was the rate 12.30. 7-year one was the rate 12.80. Now today you are issuing at 9.50. 10 years. See the difference. People who have invested in 2019, aren't they happy or not? They must be laughing. They must be smiling. Why? Entire 10 years, entire 5 years, they are receiving. If you are investing in this particular 5-year bond, divide 30 gana hambena. 7 years, 12.80 gana hambena. But today, if you make this investment, which is oversubscribed one, 7 billion one, you are receiving how much? 950. Can't do. So that's the difference. So basically, you have to make a decision based on the today's information. People who have invested in this particular 2019 debenture have taken the decision based on the today's information. They have not worried about the future interest rate. So they might have thought the future in the future interest rate will not come down. එහෙම හිතුවා තව ටිකක් මේක ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා මිනිස්සු. මේව රේට් එක එනවා. නේ? That's all. මේ මිනිස්සු මොකද හිතන්නේ මේ 7 බිලියන් ඉෂුව කරු මිනිස්සු හිතන්නේ අපරාධ මට ඒ දවස්වල සල්ලි තිබ්බනම් මම මේක දැම්මනම් බෙටර්. So that's why now another thing is if you have a callable option when you're issuing this particular 2019 bond, if you have a callable option, you can call it. So we'll be later discuss that feature, right? Don't worry about it. So any question you have to just wanted to discuss this prospectus and the special features of this debenture. So then pricing of debenture, pricing of treasury bonds are similar, right? Pricing of debenture and pricing of debentures are similar. So then so pricing of debenture and pricing of debenture and pricing of treasury bonds are similar, but the features are different. You can understand now this treasury bonds features, debenture features when you discuss this. This is the prospectus. So every prospect, every company, every bank, anybody who is issuing debenture has to be printed this particular prospectus. So now you have idea. So examiner once tested the features of this particular. Only thing, just go through the. This has not been uploaded. Only thing due to the capacity of upload it. But I'll try my best to send this to the IDSL, and then you can have a look at these things, right? And also the press advertisement which we discussed. I'll try to send this document to them, right? Any question you have for us to finish? So the next week we will be touching only the dirty price and the clean price, then we can finish it off. Then we will move into the shares, it won't take much time. We can finish it off that one. Then we will be moving to project appraisal. So your exam is scheduled to be held in November. So we'll have to do some work. Only thing we can finish it off for the syllabus. Only thing I have to take some questions also with you for the completion of this particular subject. So in the meantime, I'll take some, once you finish this issue management, so we have a lot of questions to be discussed, right? So then we can do that simultaneously. Once you finish it, then you have idea of how the examiner test question from each subject. So any question you have before we wind up? So then we will be meeting up next week. We'll continue from there. Thank you very much.